For people that have worn skin-tight latex bodysuits, what happens to the gas when you fart? Does it show up like a bubble in window tint that you have to squeegee out towards the ankle, neck, or wrist? Does it spread out? Will it make the smell dissipate? I used to own a pair of skin-tight latex pants, and fortunately farting does not make a bubble. I've only worn one once and wasn't really gassy that day, but the smell tends to just stay on the latex itself and slowly dissipates out. However, when you take it off, you can smell even the area where your armpits have been. So I would assume the same with multiple farts. Had a friend who was into latex. The sweat builds up and pools because gravity, coupled with a high humidity climate, it made for really unpleasant sucking sounds when he disrobed. The combined sweat and lube used to get into the outfit was next level gross. Now this is the type of question I like to see here. Following for update. Mine had a zipper from the navel down under and up the back. So gas would just escape through the zipper. Sweat. On the other such luck. I ended up cutting the gloves and feet off because they'd fill up with sweat and it was really gross. From what I understand, it will look like a mouse running down your leg. It will then exit near the bottom. No experience with latex. But when wearing chest waders while fishing, you normally wear a waist belt on the outside of them. This is not to keep the waders up, but to keep from flooding your waders. Should you step into water above chest level, it also has a trapping effect of any flatulence expelled into them. So letting a few rip can give you a false sense of safety from the trapped stench. Until sometime later you happen to step into deeper water, like waist level, and the water pressure squeezes those trapped air biscuits past the belt level, right up into your own face like a wearable fart funnel. Worse than stink bait. Closest I can get is an old coworker of mine found out what happens when you pee in a dive suit. It stays in the suit. Those suits really seal in the flavor. I love the really deep questions in life, and this is as deep as it gets. Never change. Reddit heart with ribbon. You float to the ceiling and bob around a bit. It's a dead giveaway. I'd be more worried about the thought it was a fart, but more the fabric. If it's wedged up really tight between my cheeks, as latex does, will basically seal in the fart. I have to push super hard to get the fart out. And it happens gradually. X200B. Forget the fart. Imagine getting diarrhea. I have seen the mess it caused one guy who got diarrhea while wearing insulated coveralls, and the poor soul didn't have a chance to take them off. What I am taking here is that it's not a shortcut to inflation fetish. Most of these comments are correct. It just gets stuck, or if it's zippered latex, the air leaks out. I can attest that all fluids will be trapped in the latex, and I am a dripping mess when I take it off. A friend is a firefighter who attended a scene where a man died wearing a gimp suit. The man died by himself and was discovered days later. The firefighters were called because the suit bloated up with gas after his corpse started to decompose and became hazardous. Rebecca Ramjan talked about this happening in her X-Men costume. Very funny. Filed under questions I never possibly could have imagined, but now absolutely must have the answer to. My friend had a fart that traveled right up her front and popped out of her bra. She called it Gastifer Columbus. I think Halle Berry once told Jay Leno in an interview that Jennifer Lawrence, who was playing Mystique in the X-Men movies, once had to fart in her costume. It created a fart bubble, which she had to help massaging upwards, so that it could escape by the neck. Very funny interview for any 12-year-old. And me. D. Clearly you're not a lady who has lady farts travel from back to front in an almost compact orb. that you feel roll then pop? IDK why this question made me laugh. But I had never thought about it. Thank you for this question, I needed this. The ultimate Dutch oven. Air, finds a way. This is why the internet was invented. I remember farting in my wetsuit at a depth of 100 felt it make its way up my backside and out the back of the neck. Kinda tickled. It would be cool to eat a lot of beans and get a methane torch thing for cows and insert it into suit. Dreams of the poor. They're not airtight. You get to experience the fart twice. Once in the act, and later when you take off your suit and let the fart bubble escape. I wear dry suits for work. It's not uncommon to fart in your suit. Point your hand at someone, and then open your suit's wrist seal so that the gas shoots out towards that person. What I've learned from this was that Catwoman probably had a storage of sweat in her suit. It also probably smelled really bad. Not worn a latex suit, but was doing a lot of swimming in a tight-fitting wetsuit this year and needed to fart when I was out in the middle of a lake and, well, yeah, I felt it come up my back and some of it went down and under me and came up the front and it came out the neck hole. I won't go into any more details, but I disgusted myself. My wife who was swimming with me nearly drowned from laughing, but she was wise enough to swim a few meters away. My question is, how do people that wear those on a hot summer day not get heat rash? One time I farted a hole in my latex underwear. Definitely doesn't make the smell dissipate. Don't ask me how I know. Does it come out the neck? Maybe you fart out of your neck just like in a wetsuit. But I get bubbles, you don't. I used to have something like that for biathlon. The material was breathable so farts went through. Biggest problem is people would definitely check out my butt, so fart bubbles would have been super awkward. One guy had a super obvious boner as well the whole time 1 year. Which for 40C is kinda impressive. Not the same thing. But the competition swimsuits I wore would indeed trap the gas until it worked its way out the leg. Or waist. Pretty sure OP is out there sniffing ankles. I'd guess it would spread out instead of forming a bubble. And it would dissipate through the closest openings or just linger if unable to make its way out. Thing is, there's a lot of general smell going on already, so not sure it would make things all that different. Or worse. The rubber smell is quite strong depending on the quality and finish of latex used. There's no air circulating, so it gets sweaty and smelly pretty quick even in lower temperatures. I would expect there to be a sound as the additional air squeezes out, as sound typically happens with any air pockets normally. They're tight, but not so impossibly tight that a gas can't get around and will bubble it up. Lots of them tend to have zippers in the nearby area, so it'll just escape there. But otherwise it'll just move around until it finds an opening. I'd just be worried about a shart. Now these are the real questions right here, the questions that need to be asked and answered by humans all together as one. Ha 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 ha. OP's thinly veiled fetish. Ah, the classic Dutch sausage. A client told me it rolled up her back out her neck. In my case, the tube hooks up directly to my face mask, so not sure what would happen otherwise. This post is too funny, OMG, rolling on the floor laughing. I can tell you that tights are enough to trap a pocket of warm air, so definitely you will capture some of it with latex. At least the tights can breathe over time. You ever hear the expression, "this will knock your socks off"? Skin tight and airtight are two very different types of tight. I'm sure it rises right up out of the neck hole so you can still enjoy it.